This was a problem that was requested to me by a student, so I figured I'd make a video about it so everybody could see how to solve a problem like this. What we have is a ball which has a mass of 2 kilograms, which is raised to some height, which in this case is 0.7 meters, and I let it go so then it swings down. And at the bottom, what happens is it's going to collide with another block. In this case, it is more massive. So the one at the bottom that's waiting for it is 5 kilograms. It's initially not moving. We're going to assume that the collision is elastic between both of those. The question is, find the final velocity of both of these balls after the collision, assuming it's elastic. All right, so let's set up our conservation of momentum and our conservation of kinetic energy and see how we do the algebra in order to get to the final velocity of each ball. All right, what we first want to do is we first need to find how fast is the ball, the green ball, moving when it gets down over here. So for part one, we're going to use conservation of mechanical energy, because what we have here is a lot of gravitational potential energy. Right, gravitational potential energy here at the top, initial, and there's initially no kinetic energy because I'm just going to release this one from rest. So let's forget about that. That there has to be equal to the final total energy down over here. So we're going to have some final potential and some final kinetic, except, again, if it's down here near the ground, we're going to say that the final potential energy is 0. So for this part here, if you remember, gravitational potential energy is m1, little g multiplied by the height, right? That's our total gravitational potential energy at the top. That has to be equal to the final kinetic energy over here, because in this first part, it's just swinging down. So 1/2 m1, and again, v1 squared. And this is going to be the speed right before it collides, right? That's its initial velocity before the collision. So let me actually call it v1i. You see that mass m1 is on both sides, so you can get rid of that. And then I could do a little bit of algebra here, bring the 2 on the other side, and then you take the square root, and you get to a final expression for at least v1 squared. This is 2gh. And then you take the root on both sides. All right, let's take the square root, and that's it. Now, if you wanted to get a number out of this, you could certainly do that. So let's go ahead and do that. v1 initial is going to be square root of 2. Let's take 9.8 for little g. And my height, I've said right here, 0.7 meters. Let's extend that a little bit. All right, put all of that stuff in the calculator, and I think I get like 3.7 meters per second. So that is the initial velocity right down here. And then what we have here is simply a one-dimensional collision. Okay, and again, the collision is going to be elastic. So what we're going to do now is we're going to write down our expressions for analyzing this collision. All right, if I was going to draw it out, what I have here is a blue ball moving in, the green ball rather, moving in, and it has a mass m1, and it has a speed or a velocity that's going to the left, and it's 3.7 meters per second. And it's going to strike a stationary ball, which has a mass m2, and its initial velocity is 0. So then we want to see what happens after. So let's go ahead and write down momentum conservation for this. What I'm going to do for this problem here is I'm going to assume that everything going this way is going to be my positive direction. This I'm free to do. So let's look at momentum now in this direction. There's only the ball m1 that's moving. So that means momentum initial is m1 and v1 initial. And that's it. That's the total momentum because this guy is initially not moving. Now, after the collision, I really don't know what's going to happen, but I know I'm going to have a mass m1, and it's going to have some final velocity, and this is really what I want to find. What else? I'm going to have a block m2, which is probably going to go off in that direction there, so it's going to carry some final momentum. All right, so this is really what I want to solve, and if you think about what are the quantities that I know and what I don't know, well, I don't know what the final velocities are, right? This is really what I'm trying to solve for. So I have one equation here and I have 2 unknowns. So I need to do a bit more work. So now what we do is we use the fact that this collision over here is elastic, right? We need this expression over here. If it's an elastic collision, that means I can write another equation. I can write conservation of kinetic energy. So what we have here is we have the block or the ball M1, which has quite a lot of kinetic energy. And that's it. This one's not moving. It has no kinetic energy. After, probably both of them are going to move. So let's go ahead and write down the kinetic energy after the collision. This is what it looks like. V2 final. Don't forget to square that. And that is our second equation. All right, what we have here are two equations and two unknowns. The unknowns are, again, the V finals. Now, what makes this complicated is that they're squared over here, but they're not squared over there. So what we're first going to do is I'm going to simplify the second equation because you have these 1/2s everywhere. These don't help you. You can get rid of those, okay? And now let's go to the next page, and we're going to manipulate these, and I'll show you how to do the algebra to obtain expressions for the final velocities of each ball. Okay, so let me show you the steps that I use over here. So let's first start with equation 2. Let me get rid of those 1/2s. Those things don't really help me. What I'm going to do now is I'll do a little bit of math. Let's group all the V1 terms on one side, and you'll see what I mean. So we're just working with equation 2 right here. So it's M1, V1 initial squared, and minus V1 final squared. And that equals to M2, V2 final squared. Okay, this is kind of like another equation 2. It's the same. I've just rewritten it. Now, if you think about this term, this is a difference of 2 squares. If you remember going back to probably high school math, they probably showed you that a difference of 2 squared, you can break that down into 2 terms. And what I want to do is I want to do this because I want to avoid working with these squared terms as much as possible. V2 final squared. All right, so this is really equation 2. It's just kind of, we've changed it a little bit, but it's the same. All right, now if you focus more on this side right here, let's look at this term right here. This term is kind of similar to what's going on if I would group this along with this, right? Imagine if I brought that on the other side. If you imagine if I brought this on the other side, I would get M1 and V1 initial minus V1 final. So actually I can replace all of this by this term over here. M2, V2 final. So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to simplify my algebra a little bit. So at the end, what we have here is M2, V2 final, V1 initial plus V1 final. And look at here, I have M2 and V2 final squared. All right. Now again, I can simplify some things because I have M2 on this side and I have M2 on this side. What else? I've got V2 final once here and I have it twice over here, which means I can get rid of one. As long as I get rid of that. All right, so the final kind of kinetic energy equation, which was my equation 2, you're able to rewrite it as something like this. V1 initial plus V1 final equals to V2 final. Now this expression is a lot easier to deal with. So this is going to be my new equation 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that one. Now we're not quite done yet. I still need to obtain what is V1 final and V2 final. However, I'm going to use basically just these two equations that I've put into the blue boxes. All right, let me show you the last steps on how to do this, and then we'll get numbers for this collision. So at this point, my goal is to get V1 final and V2 final by themselves. I have 2 equations, and I have 2 unknowns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this V1 final. I'm going to bring it back on the other side. So it becomes negative V1 final. Okay. What I want to do now with equation 2 is all of these terms have masses. So in order to kind of simplify, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply equation 2 by M1. So this guy here, what I want to do is I want to multiply the entire equation by M1. So it looks like something like this. So this is M1, V1 initial, and that there has to be equal to M1, V2 final minus M1, V1 final. Okay, now let's not forget our first equation over here. So let me go ahead and kind of copy and paste that one. I just kind of like to have them near each other. This is kind of useful. Just do a little copy and paste over here and just bring it right underneath. All right, so these are the 2 equations. What happens now if I add both of these equations? All right, let's add this equation. This is really the 2 prime prime. And this is equation 1. So let's add both of those equations. You see the left, and the reason I want to do that, actually, let me highlight this, is because if you have a look at it, if I add both of them, you see I have a negative sign for this term, and I have the exact same term, but that's positive. So if I add them both, it's going to eliminate V1 final. So that's really the reason I want to do this. That means both of these terms add up. They're the exact same, right? So we get 2m1 v1 initial. I know everything on this side. These two terms are going to cancel, and now at the end we're left with, there's two terms with v2 final. So m1 plus m2 and v2 final. Guess what? I'm done. Right? Doesn't look like it, but look at v2 final is equal to this whole term, 2m1 v1 initial divided by m1 plus m2. All right, that's it. This is the entire expression now for that final velocity. Now the nice thing about it is, now once you know this one, you can go back to any of these equations over here and find what is the expression for v1 final. So let me use maybe equation 2 prime prime right here and obtain that expression. So I'm going to clean this up. Let's clean this whole part up since we've already done all the math. You can go back on the video and watch this part. Okay. All right, so again, I want v1 final by itself. So really I want v1 final. Let me bring it back on this side. That means this is v2 final minus v1 initial. All right, substitute our expression here for v2 final. This is what we have. Divided by m1 plus m2 and minus v1 initial. All right, what you can do is put things on a common denominator over here. So what you could do is just multiply the second term by 1, m1 plus m2, and m1 plus m2. All right, you can see here you have 2m1. Here I have 1m1, except it's negative, right? So don't forget that. So my final expression now for v1 final should look something like this. I should have m1 minus m2 in the numerator divided by the same denominator, m1 plus m2. All of that, it gets multiplied by v1 initial. So I'm going to box that one up too. Now we're going to substitute the numbers in and let's see what we get. All right, again, I'm going to make a bit of room over here just so we can kind of see what's going on. Eliminate all of this math. All right, so let's get expressions for v2 final and v1 final. So v1 final, put that one in the calculator. So what are all these numbers over here? Now I can go back to all my masses. Mass m1 is 2 minus 5 and 2 plus 5. And all of this gets multiplied by 3.7 meters per second. All right, if you're a little bit careful, you put that in the calculator. Notice we're going to get a negative number. So let's go back and analyze that in a minute, but I should get minus 1.58 meters per second for this problem. For v2 final, again, I'm substituting things over here. So what I get is 2 multiplied by m1, which is also 2. Divided by the sum of both, 2 plus 5. And again, it gets multiplied by 3.7. And guess what we get here? We're going to get, put that in the calculator, I think I get positive 2.12 meters per second. Okay. This is actually a really important result right here. Actually, if you could see what the relative velocity is, the relative velocity after the collision. Let's look at after. So for this, I'm just going to define it as v2 final minus v1 final. What you're going to get here is going to be actually 3.7. Before the collision, the relative velocity, if you define it the same way, before the relative velocity before. Now again, if you want to keep the same order, it would be v2 initial minus v1 initial. V2 initial was 0. You notice in this case I would get negative 3.7 meters per second. Okay, so this is the relative velocity before the collision. This is actually kind of always something you get for elastic collisions. Okay, that the relative velocity after the collision is equal to the relative velocity before the collision, except there's a negative sign there in between them. Okay, but this is just showing you some of the algebraic steps in order to solve this kind of a nice problem.